Why is it so bright? I did notice that my face does look a little red. Someone had mentioned that. My hair also looks kind of messy. Thank you everyone so much for stopping by. Welcome, welcome. For those of you that don't know, my name is Eli. I'm with Pokémon USA, obviously. I post content Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for you guys to watch and enjoy. As always, I don't get the opportunity to go through and read most of the comments, so Tuesdays and Thursdays are Q&A days where you can take the opportunity to ask literally anything you want in regards to questions that you may have that I wasn't able to go through on the comments. Honestly, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. I am just gonna take a second. I don't like the way my hair looks. I'm gonna put a hat on. But anyway, but shout out to those of you guys that are here a little early. John Doe, always enjoy the stream. I appreciate you. Derek, what's up, my guy? Pika's here. Thank God he's on time. It's about time. Glad to catch the stream. I'll be on and off throughout and catch what I miss on replays. Appreciate it. Anvil, what's up, my guy? I hate how inflated booster box prices have become. Personally love to crack open booster boxes and try and pull sets from financial standpoint. It's way cheaper just to buy singles. It's true. I was actually thinking about how I love these vintage packs. Opening on YouTube costs like 500 bucks. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's definitely tough. Only certain sets are definitely worth it. What's up, Eddie? How we doing? Eli, I use all this investment advice. You can't stop me. Hey, I appreciate it, my guy. Yo, Tic Tac, we here today. Heck yeah, baby. Gage, what's up? Market dropping like a bad habit. Oh yeah, baby. Market just keeps on going. It keeps on dropping. Yeah, it's been pretty nasty, guys. I mean, that's why I made the video I did yesterday. Yeah, well, today, technically. I made it yesterday and then posted it today because, I mean, let's just take a look at the Dow. Let's just take a look on the Dow Jones. I mean, it's down 2.45% today, which is not good. I mean, you're talking about, this doesn't even seem right to me. I don't think this is right because I saw it, and maybe I'm looking at it on a separate index, but because this is the industrial average, some places it's down 15% on the month. It's nasty out there, to say the least, guys. That's for sure. So, and then of course, you know, crypto. I mean, is crypto doing anything right now? You know, 21,000, just revisiting the lows. I mean, it's just a bloodbath going on right now. So, just a bloodbath. What do you think will happen to out of print booster boxes in down Pokemon markets? I think that they will see retracements, especially considering the fact that a lot of them are inflated. Even the ones, in my personal opinion, that are super scarce are going to see a huge drop. I mean, a good example of that is first edition base set booster box. I mean, we talked about that yesterday's video. It has shown a consistent drop time over time over time over time, just on these recent auctions. And, you know, it's arguably one of the rarest booster boxes outside of a lot of these EX Air, Diamond and Pearl Air boxes. It's definitely the oldest, so you're gonna see that nothing's safe. I mean, it's dropped 50%, right? It's dropped 50%, guys, and it's probably just gonna keep going. So I heard this guy is a financial advisor. Can we pay him Pokebucks? I'm definitely not a financial advisor. I do appreciate all donations though, so I will say that. But it is never required. I will go through and answer everyone's questions, as you guys already know. Bullish, what's up, Travis? How we doing? Let's freaking go, baby. Some stocks are back down to COVID levels already. I noticed that, dude. Yeah, I mean, a lot of places are, dude, it's bad. It's really starting to go, everything's starting to go on the wave side. Crypto can go booger off somewhere, right? Alts have been curiously performing well, which makes me personally believe, yeah, good luck on that long term. They're gonna get siphoned eventually into Bitcoin. $20 for a hidden face to him, I highly doubt it'll do that. I mean, we're talking that's MSRP level. And for a set like Hidden Fates, I mean, you're talking, in my personal opinion, for those tins, you know, probably $30 it would be the low in my personal opinion. But who knows? I mean, you could really get to a point depending upon how bad this gets. I doubt it'll go to 20. I highly doubt that, because the demand for the set is still extremely high. High demand sets will still perform better in bear markets and recessionary periods, but not that good, you know? My hedge fun uncle says stagflation is gonna hit us like a drunk stepfather. That's a funny expression, bro. That's for sure. Yo, what's up, Digi? How we doing, brother? The end for me if you think that happens. Why do you think? What do you think of modern singles pricing? I think, in my honest opinion, it's overinflated drastically. There are certain sets that I do like based off of how much they've been printed. Shining Fates, Viv Voltage are two good examples, but sets like Evolving Skies, you know, Chilling Rain even. I mean, some of these sets I think need to see corrections in pricing. So I guess that hopefully answers your question on what do I think of modern single prices. It's kind of a broad question to ask. But also I don't like that the sets are as large as they are, personally. I just want to open my favorite pack. Yeah, right. What's your prediction on how UPC could drop? Ooh, that's a good question on that one, John. I mean, what's it sitting at if we're just going off the TCG player prices? If we're just going off of... I did not need to go to the filter on this. I don't know why I did, but that's fine. We're just going to look at it from this perspective anyway. It's going for 383. Ooh. That's a hard one. Because if I'm being completely honest, I think it's not unrealistic to say that a lot of product could drop, you know, specifically sealed 30 to 60 plus percentage points. So celebrations could easily fit in that category where it goes down to 300 to start and then eventually goes all the way down to 200. Which sounds crazy, which sounds extremely crazy to think about. And here's what will be good. One thing I will say, and this will be specifically good for Polkadata.io, is they're a very new website. And so in regards to their like sealed product that they're able to keep track of, they usually only have a history of when their website was started, which was the start of 2021, I want to say. So they've got about a year and a half of history. With that being said, this will be a good indicator for us long term to be able to track and follow everything that's going on in regards to sealed price corrections. I mean, because for those people that don't know, I mean, after the recession of 08, you had booster boxes that were sitting, I don't know, at 80 bucks, 90 bucks for up until 2014, 2015 on like EX era, you know, Diamond and Pearl era. And that's like 7-8 years after they came out, which obviously we're in about a lot healthier of a marketplace right now because the demand is so much higher in the set. But still, with that being said, personally speaking, you could definitely see a situation where you do see a large correction and then prices are very much stagnant or slowly climb up over time. But to think about it, here's how I like to look at this too, guys. Investing in stocks right now, you're losing money. Investing in crypto right now, you're losing money. Investing in gold and silver and other commodities, generally speaking, you're losing money. Most items that you're investing in, sure, bond yields have gone up. Specifically, junk bonds are almost at 9%. I think they're at 8.5 right now, which those are a lot riskier. But the point I'm making with this is most items are, you can't hedge for crap. You can't hedge for crap. And it sounds crazy, but at this point right now, since everything's going down, and Literally, the rate of inflation on the dollar is so high, it's like, where do you put your money? Do you just sit on the sideline and just wait for prices to drop? What's going to drop? What's going to be worse? An 8.5% rate of inflation or 8.6% rate of inflation? Or stocks crashing 3% each day? Like, you're having to play these games of like predicting which is going to be. And now obviously stocks are not dropping 3% every day, right? But let's take, I don't know, let's take Apple. And let's just see how Apple's done. So Apple in the day is down 4%, 5% on the 5-day, 12.9% on the last month. If you're just saying to yourself at an 8.6% inflationary rate, you would invest in Apple, which in my personal opinion is a pretty safe company to invest in. You would have lost less by just having money on the sideline, even with the rate of inflation being so high as it is, because of how poor stocks are performing right now. So the safest hedge is cash in theory, which is really scary to think about because it shouldn't be that way. And I mean, you have a lot of, yeah, it's dumb. So with that being said, for those people that are like, well, Pokemon is the best hedge. It's like, don't get me wrong, guys. Like, I think Pokemon will be great investments long term, but to say it's a hedge against inflation, dude, it's not a hedge against inflation. Long term, it'll be a good balancer of inflation because, of course, prices on steel products will go up because, wholesale distribution prices will go up, manufacturing prices will go up, but, this is more of a long-term game. So for those people that want to fight me on what's going on as far as, how do I want to say this, Pokemon not taking a correction and saying, no, Pokemon's strong, it's in a good area, while the rest of the market is up in flames, you're crazy. That is not going to happen because the retail space is going to get hit the hardest. So, I mean, I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. It might be a hot take, but I don't know how else to say that. Oh, goodness gracious. What's up, Agent Crypto? TikTok says no. What are you saying no to? Heck yeah, you are here, Agent. I appreciate you. By the way, shout out to Avocado, TikTok, Agent, and was there someone else? Digi Smith. And is that it? I think that is it. I gave you guys all OG status because you guys have been here for a while now. So shout out to you guys in the Discord if you noticed that. If it does go for 20, I'm throwing 10. I mean, that's the thing. Is there such a demand pocket there? I highly doubt that. Did you hear about the cryptocurrency company that prevented investors from selling off because they couldn't afford liquidity? I haven't heard about that, but it doesn't sound off to me. I mean, you saw obviously the same thing happened with Robinhood, and then Robinhood got a 1-star rating, and then they started deleting all the 1 stars. Man, some places are corrupt, dude. You got to go on a live with Eli sometime, bro. I think it would be cool if I did do a one of those lives that Jake does. That would be actually really cool. I wouldn't mind doing one of those one of these days. With Recession, do you think Chilling Reign will still get another reprint? Good question. I mean, it really is hard to say right now, John, because the Pokemon market has been pretty flat, honestly, in regards to ultra modern prices. I mean, if we just go shop all, we go best selling, flat. Has this actually gone down? Oh, wow. Brilliant Star prices have gone down. That's nice to see, at least. Pokemon Go final set list got revealed, so that looks like it's going to tank. General Pokemon prices are like kind of flat and slightly up. So as far as it stands right now, I don't see why they wouldn't still have another Chilling Reign reprint, especially considering for them, they're more focused on competitive play. And if prices were to go up on Chilling Reign, then I don't see why not. But of course, we don't know what's going to happen with this recession on truly how it's going to affect things. Obviously, I can give you my predictions, Derek. And I can give you my predictions. Sorry, not Derek. John. John's the one that asked the question. I just saw Derek's name. I can give you my predictions on saying that I think Ultramodern is going to get hit probably the hardest during the recessionary period. But there's no way of telling. So here's how I'll answer this, John. If you see a steady increase in Chilling Reign over time, within the next year to year and a half before it goes out of rotation, then yes, I do think there will be a reprint. If you see that it goes stagnant and flat and who knows, maybe even goes down, then I think there's less of an argument to be made on the fact that they will probably not do a reprint anymore. Or there's less of an argument that they will do one. Man, I love the celebrations UPC. Yeah, seriously, dude. It'd be cool to see, but just sold UPCs today, liquidating a few different sealed products right now. Yeah, dude. I mean, I've obviously been already liquidating a lot of my assets because of moving. But, you know, it's definitely interesting timing. It's different. Eli, what's your opinion on physical gold is doing so bad currently, considering that everything's in its favor? I think there's a big misrepresentation on gold and silver as a hedge because of what happened. And I mean, and we can take a look at price of gold over time. Because here's the deal. Let's go by an ounce. I personally think there is a misrepresentation, and this is just my personal opinion, but I think there's a misrepresentation on truly what gold truly hedges up against. Because if you look at when gold performed the best, historically speaking, gold performed, sure, you can make an argument that it did perform well after the recession. You did see a huge rise in gold prices. But then you also saw as well a huge increase in gold prices right before COVID even happened. So it was already on an uptrend before COVID was happening. And so for me personally, I mean, it's obviously at all-time highs, so it's not like to say gold hasn't been performing well. But to say that gold is a hedge necessarily against inflation or a hedge against a dying economy, I don't think that's necessarily true because it was already on an uptrend, right? I think people spend too much time looking towards what happened in 08, but if you literally look, once again, the price of gold was going up and it was on an uptrend before 08, and that was when the market was booming. Same thing happens in the 70s. You had a high rate of inflation, and then leading into the 80s when things started to get better, and then after things had started to get better, it crashed, which, you know, yes, you can make a comparison to that, but I don't know, man. It's really hard for me to say because it's all over the place. I mean, even if we take a look at silver, for example, I mean, silver has been stagnant. Silver has not really done much in the grand scheme of things. Because if we take a look at just the price of silver, just, you know, on a charting perspective, obviously it performed extremely well after the 08 crash. I mean, I think prices went as high as 40 some odd bucks. Really hard for me to pin it down. And then, you know, after its kind of like peak, it just went flat and stagnant, and then it went up a little bit over COVID. But guess what happened, guys? Right before COVID happened, like right when COVID happened, look at what happened to the price of silver. Why would you see an immediate reaction of silver selling off as soon as it's a hedge against inflation during the time of, you know, Corona? The only reason why you saw such a huge influx in price where it went up is because it dropped to like lows we haven't seen on silver in forever, and so it eventually went all the way back up, made its correction, and now it's going back down again. So I mean, silver has just, you know, it hasn't really performed. And then same thing with gold, man. I mean, well, I should rephrase that. Silver hasn't been performing, gold's been performing. But to say there's a correlation between downturns, that isn't represented on the charts. It's not, because these uptrends were already happening before the recession. And now you can make an argument saying, well, people were predicting a recession to come, but there's no way that during 2009 or 2019, when things were on the up and up and the market was soaring and there was like no negative sentiment, that people were predicting what was going to happen with COVID. So I think that gold, there's a lot of a misrepresentation, and specifically recently, gold seemed to almost be pegged to the economy, and whatever was happening with the economy was happening with gold, you know? So, I don't know. I think that's just my personal opinion on it. I don't think it's a bad form of investment just because you're trying to stay diversified. But yeah, it's definitely not a hedge against inflation in my opinion. I gotta take a stock of my raw cards and the Forgotten Seal collection in the closet. I can't even remember what there is. I have that, dude. I do that every so often too. I'm like, oh, I forgot. I'd like to hold in 10 years this UPC. I mean, it's not a bad investment by any means. Yo, what's up, Patrick? What's up, Eli? What's the best thing to be holding when the markets fall? Cash, real estate, crypto, Pokemon? You know, that's a hard one. That is a hard one, Patrick. And let me put it for you this way. The answer is whichever falls the least. And you might say, Eli, that's such a lame answer. But the reason why is because certain stocks are dropping more than others. We obviously just took a look at Apple stock. Apple stock is down, 13% on the month. If you had been holding cash instead of Apple, cash is at an 8.6% inflationary rate right now, you'd actually have lost less with holding cash than you would have Apple within this past month. Crypto. If you've been holding crypto, you're down quite a bit of money in this past month. With Pokemon product, obviously it varies depending upon what Pokemon product you're holding. So it's a really loaded question to ask. But if you're talking about a broad general statement, I mean, real estate prices, in my personal opinion, we're about to see a large correction in real estate. And we're really at a point right now where there's not much that you can really hold on to hedge. So I'm going to answer this question by saying, for me personally speaking, my two things that I'm kind of looking at right now is holding cash and then getting into Pokemon product that I believe will do long term at wholesale prices. Because I do believe that with wholesale product, I mean, what's the low? The low is wholesale, right? Like, sure, you can say Crimson Invasion type sets or like Battle Styles type sets. They're gonna, go down $10, $15. $10, $15 is nothing, bro. You're not seeing Battle Styles go to zero. You're gonna say wholesale prices at the time are 82. It went down to 75. It went down to 72. Big whoop. You lost $7 in a short-term period. You double down, you get a lower cost average on that. Same concept with Chilling Reign, same concept with Fusion Strike, and if you got Evolving Skies at that $100 price point, bada boom, bada bing. So for me, it's like there's a lot of opportunity in wholesale product versus with these more vintage prices. In my personal opinion, there's no like real bottom for them, because of how much they went up, and they can continue to go down. I know a lot of people really want to think that it is this perfect thing where vintage can't go down. Vintage is ultimately going to be safer than modern product. And don't get me wrong, I do think, from a long-term gains perspective, as far as it goes, you're going to see probably certain items in vintage slowly go up eventually once they've made their corrections. So they're going to generate more returns initially compared to ultra modern. However, from a floor perspective, vintage product has a lot more downside to go because it has accrued so much greater than these newer ultra modern products that are sitting at wholesale level prices, because there isn't much downside to go versus a booster box or a Pokemon card that went up 10,000% and it's only down 30-20%. It's probably going to go down another 20 to 30% depending upon however inflated it is. Certain cards have already had their corrections and will probably overcorrect at this point because of the recession. Some have not started their corrections yet and will begin. Like I said, specifically with my example I used in my video yesterday, level X cards, I think PSA 9s are starting to have their correction. PSA 10s are going to inevitably have their corrections. And WotC era products, a good amount are, starting to really see corrections on a lot of the sealed product and cards, and I'm hoping it's going to continue to keep going in that direction. So for me, as crazy as it sounds, but I do like investing in some wholesale items that I do think will do well. I buy gold Mew card over gold now. No, I don't know if I'd want to buy either, honestly, John, but that's me. Buy high, sell low. The fish mentality. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Eat it up. Buy high, sell low. Oh my god. I remember seeing memes about that all the time. Cash is the only thing to have over the next 6 months, in my opinion. Used vehicles and homes will drop 40% and stocks will rebound. Yeah, dude. Vehicle prices. When vehicles, specifically used vehicles, have been outperforming a lot of things, it really makes me fearful. It makes like, whoa, okay, especially considering price of gas too. You gotta assume that used vehicles would go down, or vehicles in general would go down because of gas. Probably electric vehicles would go up, or fuel efficient vehicles, but you know, crypto was supposed to be a hedge against the stock market, and look how that's working out. Exactly, dude. I mean, everyone wants to say this is a hedge, this isn't a hedge, but in reality, bro, what's going up is going up, and what's going down is going down, and there's you can see correlations in certain periods of time, but it's never a full true peg of correlation against something. I'm glad I got rid of Bitcoin at 60K. Hey man, shout out to you. Stocks at AMC. Well, looks like Digi made some money. You're right. We're mostly going to see deflationary period now for a couple of years. What do you mean by deflationary period? Are you I don't know if that's the right word, because I think we're gonna. We're seeing an inflation. I guess if you're saying by we're gonna see a deflationary period as in the Fed's going to raise interest rates, and that's going to hopefully cause inflation to deflate, then yeah, I'd agree with you on that. And so everything's gonna correct itself. Why is the quality so bad on cheap TGV cards, Brilliant and Astral? Really, I actually liked a lot of the cards. That's interesting. I think the art design specifically, unlike the Machamp, are really cool. What's up, average player? Nothing much. How about yourself? Hopefully all is well. Crypto is a hedge against inflation. Hell, we saw some crazy all-time highs when the dollar is weaker. Also on the side note, the capitulation hits. You make some real life-changing gains from the bottom. I mean, you definitely can make life-changing gains from the bottom. But if you're talking about the just value, I mean, let's just go to TradingView right now, right? If we're just seeing, and then let's look at Dixie and see how Dixie's doing. Wow. Let me search. Is it Dixie with an I or Dixie with a Y? I think I'll just look up dollar index. DXY, thank you. I mean, the dollar index, guys, if we're looking at it from, let's look at it on a weekly perspective. I mean, obviously, you know, you saw the dollar value hold a lot of relative strength. Look at that. Look at that. I love that, how it has the correlation between the dollar index strength right before 9/11. Oh, that's terrible. I mean, this is just the relative strength of the United States dollar, and it's on an uptrend. So, I mean, I guess that is, I mean, I guess in a sense when the dollar is, I mean, but that's hard to say, man. That's really, really hard to say. Here, let's take an example. I mean, dollar did do well when crypto did bad. But, okay, but here's one. Bitcoin broke its all-time high while the dollar index was strong. And then, yeah, I don't know if I would say there's a correlation, because around this time is when you really started to see a bull run for crypto. And around this time is where you really started to see crypto continuing to fall. So I don't know if I would say there's a correlation necessarily. Now, don't get me wrong. There's definitely times in the market where you can see correlations between, you know, Dixie index going up and crypto going down, but over time it's really hard to make an argument. The only reason why, once again, I think that Dixie is looking strong right now is just because everything's going down, and so As crazy as it sounds, even with the high rate of inflation, with prices going down and everything, you're going to lose less money holding cash. Oh snap, did I just notice the Agi status? I didn't realize I got the status. Yeah, I just gave it to you. Congrats, Digi. Howdy, what's up, Gabriel? Howdy, y'all. Company called Celsius, they transferred hundreds of millions of dollars in crypto to FTX. Classic. Jeez, dude. Thanks for the OG, appreciate it. Yeah, of course. Hash Catchem, what's up, my guy? How we doing? Is 25th celebrations done? To my knowledge, it's more than likely done. But who knows? Pokemon could come out with another reprint. Super worried about Pokemon Go set minus a couple cards, the Radiance. I think many people will find this holiday set to be disappointing, therefore heavy tanking. I mean, bro, I literally, Evan, was selling my booster boxes at $43 a piece because Game Nerds has them up for $45. They couldn't sell them. And most places are struggling to sell their ETBs, so I honestly wanted to get ahead of the curve and just offload them at a cheaper price. And what sucks too is my distributors raised their ETB prices by $5. So I'm basically making a couple bucks per booster or ETB I sell. So I'm like making very little margins because this set is tanking. It's tough. It's tough. But yeah, it doesn't look good. I think the set's going to be a complete bomb. I think this is probably going to be the worst set of the year. By far. What are some good vintage cards to buy raw and then grade, then sell? Is a good but risky technique of trying to make profit? I mean, it's really hard right now, Gabriel. Here's what I'm gonna say, because I can't fully answer your question, and here's the reason why. Right now, we don't know what the turnaround times are for PSA. So, if you got a card that you got at a good deal, and you sent it in, spend that $30 grading fee, and it gets a good grade, then you could totally make money off of it. Even after, let's say, it corrects over the next 6 months or however long it takes for the card to return to you. However, there could be a card that, you know, if it gets a 9 versus it gets a 10, it's going to make a huge difference in whether you make money or not. But then let's say the price of the 10 corrects drastically, or the price of the 9 corrects drastically, or the 8, or vice versa. It makes it really hard to really pinpoint down specific vintage cards for that reason, because, you know, I don't know what price you're getting those cards at. I don't know what grading service you're putting them in at. I don't know what the price is going to be on that specific card in the next 4 to 6 months, and so on and so forth. So it's really a hard question for me to answer personally. I will tell you that in my personal opinion, Gabriel, just the general strategy I've been using in regards to opening packs or sending in certain cards for grading, it's very much low population cards that are at a really nice value compared to what it costs for me to buy them and grade them, that I can get in nice conditions. Because even if I hit a 9 or even if I hit a 10, sure, the difference in, you know, margins is going to be a lot lower, but I'm still going to walk away with profit. But that's just me. The potential Pokemon possibly skipping rotation and pushing all rotations another whole year opens up reprint prices, crashes all around. I would be stunned if they did that. I mean, there's no news of that. Sad, are we talking gold? Yo, dude, are we crashing? And we definitely are, Zach, that's for sure. The base Sword and Shield Rainbow Snorlax main chase card is only 25 minutes. $25 mint. How do you rate picking that up? I mean, here's the first question we got to ask ourselves is, what is the PSA value? Because if we go to, let's go to Pokedata for this. So if we go to Sword and Shield base set and we look at the current Snorlax VMAX secret, and we look at it on what its 10 and its 9 value is. So its current 10 value is at $117, and its current 9 value is at $50. So if you're saying to yourself, and I mean, I don't know what the population on this, it looks like it's not being represented right here. So let me pull this up on a different screen. We're going to look at Pop Report. Bear with me for one quick second. All right, Pop Report. Sword and Shield. I don't know if this will pop it up, but we'll find out. Why Japanese? There it is. Okay, so if we just look at the population report for it, what's the card number? 206. Okay, so it's got 870 and a 10 and 118 and a 9. It's not, I mean, compared to a lot of other items, it's not completely, like, overinflated. I mean, compared to ultra modern standards. So, I mean, personally, I would prefer, and this is my opinion, if I were to go the route of buying the Snorlax, at that point, I'd much rather buy the graded, because the price of the 10, I mean, first and foremost, if we just look at the price of the 10 at its high from 300 and now it's going down to 117, it's definitely at a lot better of a price point pickup for you to get it graded at 117. Honestly, I think it could go down more during the recession, so I don't think, in my personal opinion, now is a good time to pick up a lot of sealed ultra modern slabs. Definitely not. However, with that being said, would I want to pick up the raw? Not really. I mean, especially considering PSA 10 prices are not that much more. I mean, PSA 10 prices are what, another 80 bucks? I mean, heck, you get a 9. And let's say to yourself, right, your intention of buying it at this price is to eventually grade it. Like, you're talking 28 plus 30. If you get a 9, you're losing money. You get a 10, congrats, you doubled your money. But we don't know what the price is going to be on this item in 4 to 6 months. So I'd much rather, if you are trying to take this risk, go with the 10. But even then, I think the price of this card overall is just going to go down over time, because it is just, I mean, look at this. This is just a downtrend. This is just down, 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 down. It's just making lower high, lower low. It looks like it made a higher low there, but then it made a lower high there. Or a higher high there, but that's just me, man. I'm selling off a lot of modern singles right now. Now I think they will crash. Sealed should be fine because it's scarce. Might be able to find great deals on newer sets though. Yeah, that's definitely true for sure, Sad. I wonder if so many electronics in the future needing gold and silver for product will cap the price for precious metals as an investment. That's definitely an interesting question, John. And that's one of the things, without getting extremely political, that makes me the most fearful about because everyone is concerned right now what's going on in Ukraine. I think Taiwan's the actual scarier thing, because that's where we're getting a lot of our electronic chips for like our software, computers and other programs, and for that reason, if they were to take away, if they were to take Taiwan, you could see a huge, that could be devastating for our economy. So if you're talking about precious metals and the need for gold or silver with already supply chain issues right now, I mean, that could definitely be an interesting question to be asked for sure. Pokemon investing is always safe investing. Even if the price goes down, it's just going to shoot right back up. I disagree with that heavily. Nothing is ever safe investing. I mean, sure, you can say that buying... Okay, so let's say, with the sake of your argument, right? You buy a Crimson Invasion booster box, or let's say that you buy a Steam Siege or a low demand set, right? And you buy it at its current price. Who's to say that that price, if it were to correct tomorrow at 50%, it's going to go back up to its all-time high? Sure, if you want a J-Ragon, make the argument that it could eventually go up over time, because as we've seen over time, Pokemon product, as it become more scarce, specifically with sealed, it does hit points over time. But investing in Pokemon is very risky, especially considering the fact that if you're not willing to sit on this product for a very long time, because who's to say it won't take 10, 20, 30 years for certain items to re-hit their all-time highs. And so it might seem safe because it'll eventually yield a greater return, but are you really willing to take the risk of sitting there for 20 to 30 years and hoping that it's going to re-hit its all-time high? And that's something, I mean, you saw that a lot with crypto, where a lot of people were saying crypto, specifically with, altcoins, this specific all-time high's been hit before, therefore, just when the next market cycle comes, and a lot of these altcoins cycled out and never got to their all-time highs. Now, obviously, Pokemon's a little bit of a different situation, but I think it's very, I guess the point I'm trying to say, Dragon, I get it, is you can't say that for everything across the board. I guess you can in the long term, but being very, having the foresight to understand that you shouldn't just throw your money at anything Pokemon related and hope that it's just gonna go up. Because that's you gotta take a little bit more time in trying to look at what's a good, risk to reward ratio for yourself. Any good places to buy 25th anniversary UPCs? Not to my knowledge, sadly, Jorge. Gold isn't an investment; it's a store of value wealth, better and safer than a savings account. I guess I see what you're saying with that, Sad. That's a good point. I mean, that's not a bad point to make. However, I guess the problem with that, Sad, is people do look at it as a form of investment. So that's where it's hard to look at the difference between it. It's kind of like Bitcoin's a hedge against inflation, but people are investing in Bitcoin, and if they're saying that eventually Bitcoin should be pegged to the dollar, you're not investing in the dollar in the same. I mean, you could obviously from investing in the dollar compared to the ruble or other currencies, but I don't know. It's interesting. It's definitely an interesting argument for sure, because people have certain beliefs, and this is a peg to something, or this is a investment against, and then they completely treat it differently than how they state it. Hey, if we were dystopian, will we trade bulk for food? That's so funny, dude. Would you still say purchase sealed product, particularly modern, at a good price right now is still viable looking towards the long term? Oh yeah, for sure, Chris. I love a lot of ultra modern sealed, specifically ones near wholesale prices. Do I think that right now, in my honest to God opinion, a lot of these booster boxes I'm not picking up are worth it at this very moment? Yeah, I personally am saying right now, and this is just me, and people might say to myself, people might say to me, Eli, you're crazy. We'll see about that. But I'm very patient when it comes to opportunity. I am very patient, and I'm very much willing to wait. Evolving Skies booster boxes, not worth it in my opinion. Astral Radiance at 104, not worth it for me. Fusion Strike, 92, not worth it. Brilliant Star, 125, not worth it. Chilling Rain, 103 for me, not worth it. If you could have gotten in at Chilling Rain at 75, 80, worth it. You could have gone in Battle Styles 75, 80, worth it. You could have gone at Brilliant Stars at 95, 100, worth it. Same with Evolving Skies. Astral Radiance 95, worth it. Fusion Strike 80 to 75, worth it. But I'm at a point of and people might say this is greed, but honestly, I'm at a point where I am okay with waiting for the opportunity, because there's so much more opportunity in this market to be made, and if I'm able to get at something close to as wholesale prices as possible, for me it's something I'm willing to take that chance on, because I know that in the long term there's so much value to be made, and the risk to reward ratio is so much lower than if I were to buy an Evolving Skies booster box, especially considering they're in rotation. There's an argument to be made that sets going out of rotation, it's better, it's not a bad price point to pick up. Let's say, here we'll go to sealed product, Vivid Voltage, for example, or if we're talking booster boxes, of course, Darkness Ablaze, because the fact that they're about to go out of rotation. But in my honest to God opinion, if you really wanted to, these aren't popping up, so we're going to go advanced search. In my honest to God opinion, though, if you really wanted to pick up Vivid Voltage, I've talked about this a trillion times before on my channel. These sets we knew were going out of rotation or going out of rotation for the standard competitive format in August. And so for that reason, having a reprint of it at the end of last year, knowing that it's going to go out of, you know, print in 8 months from then, to me, having that hindsight to be aware and understand that Vivid Voltage 95 to $100 is probably the bottom at this point, to me, that was your time to buy it. And so $30, although long term it's not a bad pickup by any means, because what's $30 in the grand scheme of things? For me, the difference between that is every 3 booster boxes I buy, I could have gotten a 4th one. So, you know, if I'm saying $400 for 3 versus $400 for 4, that's how I like to calculate things, is I'm increasing my capital amount that I own. And I'm very much patient with that. I'm a-okay. And that's the thing, guys, is I told you I was going to make a YouTube, series where I basically just post my strategies of playing the wave. And I haven't started recording that because I haven't seen the opportunity present itself yet. And when it does present itself, that's when you'll see that video pop up. So, but as far as it stands right now, I'm just being patient and waiting for that opportunity before I do it. But still, to answer your question, Chris, I do think particular modern will do well. It just really comes down to the price points in which you're buying them in at, and the sets, of course, you're investing in. Pokemon cards are secure as holding real gold. Definitely would disagree with that. On specific items, I mean, listen, man, it's hard to say for everything generally across the board. That's all I'm gonna say to any statement that is made about general broad statements. You know, you can say the majority of, but even then, once again, there's so many instances and when holding certain Pokemon products would have not been the best when you look at, you know, cost realized during recessionary periods. And we're talking about recessionary periods as it stands right now, because Pokemon cards specifically, you know, a lot of these, you know, vintage cards, I think are going to hit huge retracements. And percentage wise, since it is so much far more volatile than gold, you're losing so much more than you would gold. And so you might say in the long term, you know, the percentage gained is going to be far greater than that of investing in gold. But the problem with that statement is if you had just never invested in Pokemon to begin with, and let's say you invested in gold and you lost less investing in gold, and then eventually, you know, re-hedged into Pokemon, you could have gotten in at a lot lower of a price point, because the time in which you spent sitting and holding and you lost opportunity cost because of it. Like, think about it this way, guys. If you had invested in Bitcoin back during the market cycle where it hit its high and you of 2017, and you invested at 20k, sure, you can say to yourself that you would have 3 extra money, but you would have had to have waited 4 to 5 years before you did that. Versus if you had just waited patiently on the sideline, or you invested in stocks, for example, which sure, crypto outpaced stocks tremendously within that, you know, up until this current period, if you invested in their lows compared to stocks, because stocks were going up. But if you invested in stocks instead, which were continuing to climb, and then once you started to get into a dollar cost average position at, you know, Bitcoin at 6k, Bitcoin at 4, 5, 3k, then you would have had not only have made far greater in the long term, you would have gotten a better position, and you would have made money on the sideline investing in stocks while crypto was going down. So that's how I like to look at things, because, you know, obviously you want to play the game of, you know, long term, but still, you know, opportunity cost is something that I still like to take into account when investing. Kung Fu says buy puts. That's funny. I believe you just answered my above question a few minutes ago, so apologies for that. No, you're all good, Chris. When do you think it would be good to get the Charizard V alternate art? Once, in my personal opinion, Michael, Brilliant Star is more than likely going to get at least 1 or 2 more reprints. So once you've seen it kind of deplete out of its reprints, and you'll probably see me talk about that more later in the future. I think with silver, it's because it's getting used more in industrial use. So when stocks are going down, it goes down because it gets used less. Hey, that's not a bad comparison by any means. When we recover, there's not enough silver to go around, so prices shoot up fast, but just my guess. I mean, that's definitely a good take on it. Didn't really think about it that way. Do you think that car prices dropping really impacts smaller dealers who only sell to local people who don't use eBay or are only trading? Yes, 100%. Because, I mean, it's kind of like with GameStop. Thinking about it this way, Andrew, GameStop made all their money off of trade-ins and not actual, like, they didn't make any of their money really off of, you know, selling consoles and individual games. They lost money off of that. It was the trade-ins, it was the resales, they made their money. So, you know, you have a lot of LGSs that are spending so much money on paying rent. And for those that, let's say, are, you know, they have terrible margins on their SIL product, ultra modern product, you know, those trade-ins and those local sellers that don't use eBay and so on and so forth, that's their bread and butter. Lots of margin calls going out. Expect more decline, unfortunately, you know. When are these gas prices going to go down? So, Mike, here's the thing with the gas prices, is there's a couple of factors that are causing gas prices to go up. The first factor was when the current administration decided to get rid of the Keystone Pipeline. Which was between us and Canada. It basically allowed us to have a lot more a natural reserve of oil that we were able to produce within our own region. With that, it of course allowed the price of oil to be cheaper because we were producing it and not exporting as much as we were. We got rid of that. We started to solely rely on exportation because we're trying to go green is the initiative under the current administration. Well, then what ends up happening on top of that, you see prices continue to climb because we are now exporting most of our goods and not producing as much supply within our own country. Then you see what happens in the war in Ukraine and Russia. You start to see the price of oil go up once again because of the fact that we decide to sanction Russia. And who was our, you know, large who were we exporting or importing a lot of goods from in regards to oil? Russia. And so since that was a large part of where we were you know, importing oil from, you all of a sudden are now saying, okay, well, so our largest importer of oil, and we are no longer able to export our own oil and sell it, or, you know, have our own, you know, natural supply of oil within the States. You now have once again another reason for an increase in oil, specifically within the United States or around the world. Then you also take on the fact of the matter that because of this, prices of oil have skyrocketed, and those people that are still buying oil from Russia are now paying premium level prices. You now see Russia breaking all-time highs for the amount of money they've made off of selling oil, because the actual wow, why did I just space out super hard? The actual sanctions backfired because since we increased the price of oil, and since Russia's economy is heavily reliant on exporting oil, they have now been able to charge double the price of what they usually would. So sanctions have done absolutely nothing. Then you have a bunch of green regulations that are basically causing the price of oil to continue to be difficult to produce within our own country, which is very interesting because you hear a lot of the times that there are these oil leases that are being produced or given out to a lot of these oil companies. And you hear the argument that it's, you know, they are getting all these leases, but, you know, these greedy oil corporations are not, you know, fracking or drilling for oil, which fracking actually lowers emissions drastically compared to just typical drilling. With that being said, the problem is with these leases, they can't do anything because the places in which they would like to use their leases for to, you know, drill oil within the United States and our own territories, they're unable to because of a lot of the eco-friendly governmental regulations. And so to answer your question without giving such a long explanation, the point of that is either one of two things. Either you're going to have to start us seeing a place in which we can export oil at a cheaper price, but more specifically, in my personal opinion, you're going to start to see a need to generate oil domestically. We're going to start to need to generate oil, and I know that a lot of people don't like hearing that because they look at it as anti-environment, but the problem is with that is in the long term, you're actually expending more energy because of everything going on in the economy, and how it's actually going to, in the long term, cause more CO2 emissions to be emitted. Because of economic turmoil, people are going to once again turn to fossil fuels and so on and so forth. So it kind of counteracts the point of what they're trying to accomplish, which is ironic too, because you've seen them start to deter from nuclear energy. I mean, California is a perfect example. You know, California basically said by 2035, they're trying to completely get rid of all fossil fuel cars, and they're going to go electric. And so what has Californians in return started to do? They've started to spend a lot of their money on electric vehicles and so on and so forth. What have you heard a lot of being announced by the government? That there has been such a large influx of individuals going out and buying electric vehicles or electric panels and trying to, get rid of CO2 emissions. And in turn, what has happened is power grids are being overloaded, because we are not at a point right now, technologically speaking, to fully taper off of CO2 emissions. And so you're going to have power outages that are going to happen very often within California, along with other issues. And you're seeing shortages on battery. It's crazy, man. It's like I know people like look at this as like, oh my god, like it's the end of the world if we don't switch in the next 10 to 20 years, because you're going to see sea levels rise, temperatures rise. But in reality, this is an issue that is 100+ years away. And at the end of the day, even within that time period, you're talking about the fact that individuals like Elon Musk, for example, that are extremely efficient in regards to finding ways to develop technology that is going to help lower CO2 carbon-based emission rates, it's going to be self-sufficient. You're just going to have to let the market do the work itself. And government regulation so far has just not only made things worse and hasn't actually lowered CO2 emissions, it's actually raised it, but also at the same exact time, it's made the economy worse on top of that. So you're going to have to see a lot of fixing in regards to domestic oil production, in my opinion. Sorry, that was a really long explanation. I went really deep into it, but the reason why is because a lot of people ask me this question. It's a very long one to kind of break down and give a true answer of what is going on. But that's just how it is. This is just the reality of the situation. It's kind of ironic in that way. Going short on stuff is like a way to hedge. That's definitely one way to look at it. Hey there, why do you think Brilliant Star booster boxes have not dropped in price even after the reprint announcement? Because of two reasons why, Babe Cakes. One, because some distributors have already gotten their prices and their reprints, and we saw a small correction. But a lot of them, actually, there's been delays in reprints. So there was supposed to be a large reprint that was supposed to happen, as per my distributor, in early June. But it has been pushed back to sometime near the end of June. That's why. Buy fruit trees to combat rising food prices. John, that is actually something I've been looking into. I've been looking into a lot of canned goods. I've been looking into water filters, and then I've actually been looking into as well, how to cross-pollinate fruit trees, especially because I'm going to be moving to Arizona, and with the climate, it'd be in theory a lot easier for me to run my own garden at home. So that's something I'm actually very interested in doing, specifically because garden fruits and vegetables are going to be so much more expensive. Also, wouldn't mind having chickens and other farm animals. I think that'd be really cool. Being self-sufficient, I think, is a good thing. Do you think Sword and Shield booster boxes will go back to MSRP with Recession? I think that's 144 is MSRP. So honestly, yeah, I could totally see that happen. Pokemon card is stronger than the dollar. I don't think anybody thinks differently. Well, that's a completely different argument than versus silver. But even, I don't know, Dragon. It's hard to say that, man. It's hard to say that. Only reason why Dixie's up is because people believe the Fed can fight inflation. Oh, the Fed fighting inflation. That's a funny one. I have to say, you're one of the most well-educated, informed Pokemon market analysis I've seen on here. So hey, I appreciate that. Do you think it will take another gimmick like Pokemon Go? Ooh, that's a good question, Babe Cakes. That's a good question. I don't know the answer, but with that being said, I think it's highly possible that could be it. Because if we do think about this, Babe Cakes, historically speaking, When was the last real market boom we had for Pokemon? It was the catalyst of Pokemon Go. Then after that, the next big boom, it was the catalyst of the recession, which then led into the hype of like streamers and, you know, big Poke influencers that led the rise of things to happen. So I think there is an argument to be made that that could be a real factor. I think it could be like an amazing game or an amazing set that could totally bring a lot of people into it. I think that's a good thing to point out. YouTube algo brought me here to your videos from earlier today, got me subscribed, and once you started talking about market overall, good stuff I did. Hey, I appreciate it. Do you think UBC could drop to 200? Do you think Celebrations ETBs could go under $50? Dude, that's a crazy question to ask because in all honesty, I mean, anything's possible in market recessions. Anything is possible. That's one thing I hate to say it because it sounds crazy to think in theory, but also considering the fact that there's this, okay, so for a lot of my mentors that I talk to and I listen to, one of the biggest things and one of the most important things they teach me is, Eli, never have this mentality of it will never go lower. And I have that mentality now, and I've drilled that into my minds because I don't know how many times I've said to myself, specifically with stocks and cryptos, it's not going to go lower. This is the time to buy. And then it ends up dropping 10, 20%, 30% more. Never saw it coming. Rug pulled within a week. Like, so to answer your question, that's entirely possible, John. That is entirely possible for it to go to 50, if not even under 50. I mean, frick, man, Generations. You guys remember when I don't know if you guys have been around for Generations. Generations was on flash sale prices. What was another one? Shining Legends was at flash sale prices too. We were talking about 50% off at Walmart's on rollback prices, or what are the prices they're called? I can't believe I'm forgetting it. I'll think about it in a second. But just basically, they were just on ridiculous discounted prices. So, you know, it's honestly entirely possible, John, because you do see that happen a lot with Pokemon product, which you would think high demand. Man, I remember before, like, the boom, Hidden Fates every week. I would go into my store, I'd buy Hidden Fates, plenty on the shelves. Champion's Path even, bro. Like, ETBs on ETBs on ETBs, Marnie collections everywhere. Like, you're talking about an oversupply of product. And so for me, Celebrations ETBs being under fit or low supply when you're having a lot of these specialty collections being under, like, 100% possible. John Boy, what's up, my guy? Dude, I need to talk to you soon, John Boy. I've been so busy. I apologize, my guy. I've been trying to be responsive, but I picked up a third job technically. So I've been super busy with that. But yo, Shelk Forever, what's up, Tyrone? How we doing? Always nice to see you, boys. Do you think Pokemon Go cards will also be cheaper with the crash? Bro, here's my personal opinion, Sheik Forever. Pokemon Go looks like a complete dud set. First off, shout out to Miguel. Thanks for the subscription. I think it looks like a dud set, so I think it's going to perform poorly. And then I think with the recession on that, it's going to look even worse. So yes, 100%, dude. I think it's going to be bad. Anyone know where I can buy bulk Pokemon cards, such as toys, plushies, shirts, etc.? Ooh, I don't know about that one, dude. Yo, my boy, Plevosaurus, what's up, dude? So glad you made it. Hopefully all is well. Do you like a Plasma Storm set as good as a semi-modern investment? Ooh, that's an interesting one. So Anvil, here's my personal opinion, and I'm going to say this again. I'm looking at everything from a long-term perspective. I think that a lot of black and white product, a lot of EX era product, a lot of Diamond and Pearl product and older, I think you're going to see large corrections on it. You've already started to see that with a lot of Diamond and Pearl sealed. I mean, you had Stormfront, Majestic Dawn, Supreme Victor's booster boxes selling for $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, and I'm now seeing it sell for $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. Some in places even cheaper. Like, you're talking about 40, 50, 30% retraces, and I think that's going to continue to come. Now, black and white, it's a little bit more populated. It's a little bit newer of a product. Do I think that, you know, long-term Plasma Storm will do well? Absolutely. But do I think now is the time to buy? Personally speaking, no. I think you could find more, a better opportunity in the future. But I do love it. It's a great set. So, Patrick Starr, what's up, my dude? How we doing? Hopefully all is well with you. How do you decide whether it's worth it or not to get a card graded for profit? For example, gain an Umbreon VMAX Altart in 10 would yield around $200 profit after seller fees, but 9 would break even. Because ultimately speaking, Challen, even though it breaks even as it stands right now, I calculate to myself that in 6 months, my expectation is the value of the Umbreon is going to go down, specifically because there's going to be a reprint for Evolving Skies. And so if you say to yourself, there's going to be a reprint for the set, if it gets a 9, sure, I break even now. 6 months from now, I could be at a $50 loss, 10%, 20%, depending upon how you want to look at it, loss. And so for me, it doesn't seem worth it. So how I like to look at whether it's worth investing is I look at it from this perspective. If I get an 8 or a 9 on this card, will I make money? I never look at it from the perspective of, am I going to get a 10? Am I going to walk away making money? I look at it from the 8 or 9. I shoot for 10s, and I grade cards that I think will get 10s, but I always expect 8s or 9s just to be safe so that I know it's worth it for me to grade that card. That's how I like to look at it from when I decide whether it's worth sending in for grading or not. I guess I'm just worried that Pokemon cards will go the way of the Beanie Baby. Definitely not. The overall intellectual value, or the IP, I should say, that Pokemon has as a company, specifically being tied to Nintendo, is way too strong. Nintendo specifically is such a strong company. There's no way that would happen. Beanie Baby is not like Nintendo. Yeah, I highly doubt that ever happened. I heard that Shining Magikarp is tough as pull rate for Celebration. Is that true? Because I see mint copy selling for just 15. Looks good. Should be out of print now as a strong feature set. I mean, it's definitely... I don't know about the numbers on that. I did hear that as well, John. It could potentially be a pretty solid investment, but I do think the price on it is probably going to keep going down, honestly. I mean, let's go to sets. Let's go to Celebrations. That'll be under the Classic Collection. Shining Magikarp. Let's actually take a look and see what the value of it has been. I mean, the value on it is... Oh, wait, this is PSA 10, raw. I mean, the value on this card... I mean, technically speaking, it's still in a downtrend. It's still going down. However, I will tell you, $13 is definitely not a bad price, in all honesty. I mean, if you can find it for around that $15 price point, $13 price point, I wouldn't say it's a terrible pickup. But also, to be quite fair, John, I think, in all honesty, I wouldn't be surprised if you pick this up somewhere in the future for $5 to $7. So, long term, I mean, how much will that matter to you? But $105 for a PSA 10? It's done nothing but going down. And, I mean, you're talking about it being in a PSA population of 248. Yeah, I think this has got a lot more room to go, considering it's such a low pop, and it'll probably, PSA 10 will probably just go up and pop. Yeah, especially because the ratio right now, the risk to reward ratio, when people look at this and they say, I spent $30 now, it takes me 15 to buy the card, and if I get a 9, oh well, if I get a 10, big money. People look at that and the risk to reward's not there. How do you use the risk to reward ratio in making such decision? Yeah, I just answered that question. Just look at 9s and 8s as kind of, if I get a 9 or 8 on this card, is it worth it for what I've had to put into it? And if I don't, and if I can make money off of 8s or 9s, then it's worth it for me to send it in. If I walk away with a 10, great. But if I get an 8 or a 9 and I know I'm gonna walk away with money, then sick. That's how I do it, baby. Babe Cakes Babies, we're only here for less than 10 years of Pokemon, already has 20 plus. Yeah, no, exactly. You think picking up these V Bolton boxes on sale for like 15 is a good deal? Here's the deal, man. Even though I don't like the product itself, 15 is wholesale level prices, Ian. So honestly, it's not a bad pickup because you are getting it wholesale. And if the pack value holds, then you're gonna see it go up regardless. Did you ever see a baby movie or TV show or cards, LOL, or games? I don't think so. What set is dropping out next? July 1st, we're going to be getting our English Pokemon Go set, and then after that, it's going to be Lost Origins. And then whatever the Shiny Fates, Shiny Legends, whatever set, Shiny something set is going to come out. How are the alt arts looking for Pokemon Go? It seems that the alt arts carry the value of the set. They look terrible, honestly, Patrick. I mean, if you want to, we can quickly look at them. Let's go to Poke Beach. If we just see all the... I mean, this is just my opinion, but your alt art cards is you have a Mewtwo V, which I hate the background on this. Conkelder V, which really a Conkelder is what your alternate art's going to be, seriously. And those are your alternate arts. It's cool you got a Dragonite V-Star Rainbow and a Mewtwo VMAX Gold. Look, they have VMAX. It's actually V-Star. I don't know. That's an error on their part. But really, this is the set. This is it. Alternate arts, 2 alternate arts, garbage designs, and one of them's a Conkelder. This set's gonna bomb. I'm sad about missing the bottom Chilling Rain. Really like that set. Hey man, just think about it this way, comment. More than likely, there's probably going to be another reprint for it, so I wouldn't feel too sad because there's going to be more opportunity in the future. Don't feel bad. I feel as though there still might be reprints on it since it was beginning of Mark Block. Exactly, comment. That is exactly my theory, and history has shown that to be more than likely going to happen. So that's how we literally comment. This is how we look at things, is we look at it off of E block, D block, F block, and just current rotations and standard. Because as someone who works with Pokemon distributors, that's when they do reprints, is for rotations. I mean, don't get me wrong, Andrew. It's still a good price, but I'm just greedy. Because here's the thing, Andrew. Since I do have access specifically to distributors' pages, for me, unless I'm able to get it at cheaper than what I'm already buying it for there, it doesn't make sense to me. But even with that, for generally speaking, for people, I still think that there's so many times and so many opportunities to be able to get these booster boxes at wholesale level and below wholesale. I don't even think that should affect the outlook and how people see investing in a lot of these, you know, mid-tier sets. Yeah, no, my brother got 1 case of Fusion Strike booster boxes and 1 case Chilling Reigns for $480. Think he got a good value for $480, and he got 1 case for $480. Divide that by 6, that's $80. Taylor, 80, dude. Like I was saying, Taylor, if it's at wholesale, if you're buying at wholesale or below, I think that is the premium time to buy. He pulled the trigger at $480 a piece. Wholesale is $500. So, is it 500? Actually, hold on. Let me do the math on it. Times 6. No, wholesale is $492. So you guys got it by $12 under wholesale. So congrats to you guys. I think you struck gold on those prices. I think those are great buying prices, Taylor. So, no, I think you did a good job. That was definitely the time to pull the trigger. Obviously, some sites were selling for 75, so if you got that, sick. But honestly, dude, that's a great price point to look at. So I'd be stoked about that if I were you. Typically, how long after a set goes out of print would you say the sweet spot is to buy singles? 3 months is what I would say. That's what I would personally say. 3 months is what I've noticed is the sweet spot. Some places it could be a month, some places it could be 5 to 6, but 3 just seems to be the consistent sweet spot that I've noticed, John. So could we see a bottom within the Pokemon market while at the same time see the economy dip and gas prices, as if there would be that money coming from big players or large sell-offs of other Pokemon? I think, or other positions. I think you're gonna see a correlation where stocks crash, cryptos crash, inflation rises, and retail follows with that. So I think that I don't see a Pokemon being a hedge against inflation, honestly. I think you're gonna see large downturn in overall. And of course, once again, I want to make this very clear. It's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Just a guy sitting behind a computer giving my, you know, thoughts on things coming from an economic background. So with that being said, I personally believe that there's more downside to go, and I don't see it being a hedge. However, with that being said, that doesn't mean that once it does hit its bottom, it's not going to have an amazing opportunity long term, because of the rate of, you know, return tends to outpace that of stocks. But of course, with that, the rate of volatility is much higher, so the risk is higher. About a case of Brilliant Stars for $780. Was that a good buy, or should I have held out for a larger reprint on Brilliant Stars? $780. Let's do the math on that. $780 divided by 6. That is $130. Honestly, Blazer, it's not a terrible buy, but considering the fact of the matter that right now, I mean, let's just go take a look and see what the current price point is. The current price point of Brilliant Stars, I mean, you've got a guy selling for 127 right now, so you can go literally buy it cheaper for what you guys bought it for, and there is an expectation for a large reprint to happen relatively soon. And not to mention, Blazer, too, it is a very new set, so the expectation that it was going to get a large reprint was very high since it is so high demand. I don't want to rag on you because that's not my thing. My whole thing is about uplifting people and letting people know that there is always going to be opportunities. But with that being said, I personally would not have bought at that price because there is an expectation that you're going to see these prices more than likely go down to 110, 105, even sub 100, depending upon how big of a print it's going to be, how bad of a recessionary period we're going to be going in. So personally, I don't think it was the best buy. At current times, you're probably going to be looking at a lot larger of a deficit if we do see that large correction come. But at the end of the day, I don't know what your time frame is on you look at this. If you look at this from a long-term time frame perspective, then by all means, I mean, if the price of the booster box long-term in 5+ years goes up to $200-300, then congrats, you made money. But like I was saying before, would I much rather buy 3 booster boxes at 400 for all 3, or 4 booster boxes at 400? Obviously, it makes sense in that way, and you know, being patient and understanding that Brilliant Stars, you know, came out in February, 4 months ago, and it's still in current standard rotation for another, you know, year and a half. So, but I would have been a little bit more patient personally. Derek M, hit the like. This is awesome information. It's the least you can do. I appreciate that. Yeah, make sure to leave a like, comment down below, and be subscribed, guys. No excuses for anyone against nuclear energy. I mean, that's the crazy thing is nuclear energy, bro, is, I mean, it's one of the most fuel efficient forms of energy we have. Don't understand it. Not to mention too, it's very, you know, it's very eco-friendly. How and or where did you learn the parameter to analyze for either the Pokemon market or the economy? Oh god, the economy, I've learned about this stuff forever. So a couple of things, CJ. If I'm being completely honest, although I did go to school for economics, I learned more from mentors and I learned more from reading and being self-taught than I did from actual schooling. A lot of the stuff they taught me in school was very elementary, in my opinion, but that was just because I was already so well informed on it. Now, I did take microeconomic and macroeconomic classes that did help me kind of further solidify my knowledge of just general concept GDP growth, Keynesian economic theory versus supply side theory, and just being able to differentiate which side of the economic spectrum I kind of lied or I kind of saw myself on in regards to the theories in which I like to believe on how you should run an economy. And then I also read a lot of John Lockean theory. I'm a huge fan of John Locke. And I learned a lot as well from just general philosophers that talked about just overall forms of economic systems. So I learned about that from reading. And then also I listened to a lot of great economic theorists. One of my favorites being Thomas Sowell. I'd highly recommend looking into him. He's super well versed, super well informed on just understanding of just generally how markets work. And then I just have a lot of individuals in my life who I grew up surrounded by that were very much big business knowledge heads. And not big businesses like corporations, but like that's what they loved is business. They loved running a business, understanding the economy, investing in stocks, and so on and so forth. So I had a lot of influence on that and a lot of knowledge that I've learned from general investing strategies and so on and so forth from, you know, very wealthy individuals that did well for themselves. So I was very blessed to have those mentors in my life. So all over the place, self-taught, mentors, schooling, just so many different things. California is also one of those only states that is trying to implement hydrogen-powered vehicles as a green option, but hydrogen stations are rare and expensive. It's not even worth it, you know? You know, Anvil? Very true. Also, how low are Evolving Skies going to drop by its reprint? Honestly, Blazer, I personally think that you could see it go down to 120 or lower. I know people might think that's crazy, but look at this, guys. I mean, let's go take a look at the former price drop. Let's go to sealed product. Evolving Skies booster boxes. So the first time we had an Evolving Skies booster box wave, like a wave 3, which technically was like a reprint wave more or less, we saw the price go from, and on TCG Player this was around 190, so bear with me. You saw it go from around the 190 price point, 195 price point, all the way down to as low as like $100, some sites sub $100. So the price after its like initial like third wave or whatever, and third wave being the smallest wave, or third reprint wave being the smallest, it dropped $70. You're telling me that, you know, as it currently stands, and now this is taking market averages, and if we wanted to, we can even go back and just go Evolving Skies, and we will look at the chart here, because I think this will be more indicative. You're looking at high to high. High here, 189, it went as high as 195 on some places. Low here, 110. All the way up, 186, got rejected, and now it's sitting at around 168, 169. Considering the fact that it was higher and you saw a just straight down wave, I don't see why it couldn't go down to this 110 price point on TCG Player, which in turn would mean other sites are selling it for $100 to sub $100. So personally speaking, I don't think that's out of the question. However, with that being said, really comes down to how big of a reprint it's going to be. But for those people that don't remember, the reprint that happened of, what's a good example? Unbroken Bonds, or specifically Unified Minds. Unified Minds had a reprint back during, I want to say 2020. And for its reprint, was it 2020 or 2021? I can't remember the year, but it had a reprint, and the booster boxes were at several $100 and went all the way down to 120. And it was a small reprint. Like, I'm talking about, I didn't get allocated any. I had to buy some at like secondhand prices off of my distributor. And so personally, I could see the same thing happening, because even small reprints will do something, man. Yeah, of course, Dylan, no problem. Yes, California. With inflation like it is now, do you think it's smart to invest in Pokemon product or other investments instead of letting the dollar rot? So I actually just talked about this, Pride. The hard thing about that is, if you are going to invest in Pokemon product, the product that I like the most are the ones that are closest to wholesale prices. So if you can pick up booster boxes, ETBs, specialty collection items at around wholesale prices, and they are, and I want everyone to understand this, they're at least moderate to high demand, which is even better. I think that's probably going to be your safest bet long term, because the floor for that is a lot greater. And that way, it's a lot better of a hedge against inflation than investing in my personal opinion, ultra modern cards, singles, vintage cards, and sealed, because those items are at all-time highs, not bottoms, versus reprinted product that's still in supply, they're at their bottoms. So I like finding items that are at bottoms. They have a lot better of a floor, and they could have a really good long-term outlook. Now, with that being said, there's then an argument to be made, well, volatility would be much greater on these older items because they are such farther out of print, there's such higher demand on them. But with that being said, if you're telling me that we're going to go in a period where you're going to see a downtrend for the next year and a half, 2 years on all items across the board, even if you're saying in the long term, these items will rebound a lot stronger than ultra modern, on the way down, would you much rather keep your money in an area that's already at the bottom, or an area that's going to find its bottom in a year and a half to 2 years? Personally, I just answered the question. So that's kind of what I would say. Now, if you're talking about would I much rather invest in crypto stock or, you know, the dollar so far, even with the rate of inflation at 8.6%, it is still outpaced the value of stocks and cryptos because of how much it's dropped in the past month. So that's something to really consider if you are someone who likes to invest in those kind of things. Honestly, it's not a bad idea to hold cash on the sideline, even with inflation being so high. You know, housing's at its top, in my opinion. We're about to see a huge correction come for that. Yeah, but that's just my general opinion across the board. Narwhal, yo Eli, trying to establish a self-sufficient community in Idaho with your community. Wait, hold on. Yo Eli, you trying to establish a self-sufficient commune in Idaho with your community? What do you mean by that when you say commune in Idaho with your community? let's do some Pokemon homesteading. You want to elaborate what you mean more with that? But shout out to being in Idaho, man. 1 state over. I'm 5 hours away from Boise. In your opinion, is it best to buy Pokemon cards for lowest prices before or after they're out of competition rotation? I'm guessing the era is done, they'd be the lowest. That's a great question to ask, because here, let's take a look at some cards where we can really see as a good example of that. Here, I feel like Pokedata should have the data on this, hopefully. Let's go to Cosmic Eclipse will probably be a good example, because this is the last set before the rotation happened, right? So if we're gonna, in theory, if we're looking at these raw cards, we should see, in theory, this show up on a chart. It should have the data for this. All right. Where is it? Taking its time. Not draw energy. Draw energy would be a good one to grab. Sorry. There's one specific card I'm trying to think of that I don't see. Maybe I passed it. It's definitely not this cheap. Unless the prices have just drastically dropped and I don't know about it. I mean, we can look at Tag Team Call. This was an extremely competitive card for a while. So let's look at the value of it raw. Yikes. Why did it drop so much? Here, I think this doesn't look good. This doesn't look good on a chart. We should probably see if we can find it someplace better on TCG Player. So let's go to TCG Player. Let's look at Sun and Moon, Cosmic Eclipse, and let's look at some of the best-selling competitive cards. And this is going to be under Uncommon. So I was trying to look at Chaotic Swell. And so if you look at what's happened with Chaotic Swell in the past year, it has gone down drastically. Look at the point in which it went down. August 16th, August 22nd. Guess when it went out of rotation? September 7th. Prices tanked. And guess when it was the most expensive? Leading up right before it went out of rotation. So to answer your question, you're going to find them be the best time to buy right before they go out of rotation. And the worst time to buy is after rotation. Because that's what you're typically going to see. We should hopefully see this represented on other cards like Tag Call Team. Take a look at this. Interesting. This one stayed flat. The reverse holo, on the other hand, reverse holo, you saw that represented. What's another good one? Draw energy. I feel like draw energy is probably going to be a good one to look at. Draw energy also went down, but it doesn't look like, it looks like it had an up point and then it dumped and then it slightly went up, but it didn't go down. I mean, it's gone down like 40% when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. Chaotic Swell, to be fair though, was used in like almost every deck. So that's why I like Chaotic the most. Great Catcher was kind of used, but not really. You don't really see those cards used that often. What was another good card that was used a lot? What was another like staple card? Here, let's go with oh, I have a great example. You know what? I have a better one to look at. We can look at here. Let's just look at the standard here. We'll go high to low. Why did it do that? So if we go high to low, it'll probably be on page 4 if I have to guess. No, page 3 maybe. We're going to try and look at the Dialga Palkia and see what the value of that has been on the year. So interestingly enough, the value of it has gone up, but I feel like that's a hard one to judge, and this is why I liked looking at the uncommon cards and the trainer cards specifically, just because this is a collectible card. Outside of it being competitive, it's also very collectible. So that's why I didn't really want to look at it, but it's still something to kind of get a gauge for. But yeah, going back to it, I mean, when you're talking about the uncommon common cards, whoopsie, I don't know why I did that. Actually, wait, yeah, I'm gonna go to Unified Minds and see if we can find some, if we can find the best selling, or we can go, I'm gonna go high to low, actually. We're gonna go high to low on uncommons. So you've got a weakness guard. Value of the weakness guard. I mean, that card itself has been absolutely dropping. And it had its high in June, July area, and that's where it started its dissension. U-turn board. July area. August, right before competitive. And then it went up. And then it started to go down. So honestly, I mean, if we're talking about best time to buy a lot of these competitive cards and sell, probably we're just looking at the charts. So please understand that I'm basing everything off of what the charts are telling us right now. It looks like June's the best time to buy for a lot of cards about to go to a competitive rotation. And you want my honest opinion too, guys? Let's go take a look, and this is just my honest opinion, and you guys might think I'm freaking crazy for this, but I think one of the best items as it currently stands to invest in right now, break apart and sell, and you can get absolutely crazy value on, it's trainer toolkits. Because you've got trainer toolkits that have evolution incense cards, and I mean, Evolution Incense has held pretty strong, all things considered. I mean, it did have a little bit of a dip over in November, but all things considered, it still holds strong. Actually, where's Rebel? I want to look at Rebel Clash. Here, where's Rebel Clash? Which makes sense, I mean, because that's when the trainer toolkits came out. Uncommon, common. Please bear with me, guys. I apologize. Okay, Capture Energies. I'll say this. So these Capture Energy cards, I mean, they've been on a downtrend recently, and but are they competitively viable right now? Probably Scoop Up Net, right? I mean, Scoop Up is still in a trend. Yeah. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. This is gonna be my final point, my final statement I'm going to make with this. Find the most competitive decks right now, and find the cards that are about to go out of rotation that you can find cheap. Trainer Toolkits has a lot of these very competitively viable cards that you can get, and the value you're getting out of it is extremely high. With that being said, there are a lot of cards such as Scoop Up Net that is in competitive rotation because it does synergize so well with the Sobble, and so for that reason, the value of it is extremely high. I mean, you're talking about the fact that if you just go and take a look at a card like this is going for $141 as its low with 99-cent shipping. I mean, that's an expensive ass card, dude. And it's in an uptrend right now. It's been just going up because it's still competitively viable. So go to a website that you trust that shows you what the competitive current format is right now. Find those cards and find what sets have them and what items have them. Because trainer toolkits, honestly, guys, I think if you break down trainer toolkits, the value you can get on them is extremely high. Scoop Up Net's a perfect example of that because it is still in competitive rotation. Capture Energy is not really in rotation, so that's an example of a card that's still expensive, but it's not in rotation, or it's not like, you know, as competitively viable. I mean, the Sobbles, Sobbles have probably, actually, that would be a good look. Even though it's not in any trainer toolkits, what are Sobbles going for, actually? That's a common card. I wonder if it has been going up or if it's been going down. Because it's probably... we'll find out. Let's find out. It is a common card, so bear with me. I mean, you had its absolute high of 66 cents back in November. It's been going down slightly. Huh. Man, that's a tough one, man. That is a tough one to gauge. What about if we go and look at uncommons? I mean, to be fair, Chilling Reign's only the only one that you really care about. Yeah, I don't know, guys. It's a hard one to say. Specifically with this Sobble because it is a common. maybe if we look at Rebel Clash and we look at the uncommon card of and this will be the last thing we look at and then we move on. No, it's Drizzile. Okay, it's Sword and Shield base set. How's this been performing? Technically flat and down and flat. Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one. Because, I mean, we're in a pocket based off of what the other charts were selling that you could start to see these cards skyrocket. But I would love to see, I would really love to see within the next couple of months what these charts look like. Because this is going to be a completely different situation considering that we were just in a pandemic. So I don't know, man. It's hard. It's all over the place. That's all I can really say. I feel like there's going to be a lot of cards that are currently in the competitive standard format. I look into seeing what their kind of current trend charts are, and I could potentially see them being a decent investment right before they go out of rotation. With the Pokemon market seeming to go down, are you still bullish on being a seller? No, honestly not. I think margins are going to get tighter, and hopefully here's the thing, John. Margins are going to get tighter, but hopefully supply should pick up. So I should have more opportunity to sell certain products and get decent money, but also at the same exact time, it's potentially, I don't know, man. We'll see, but I've definitely been a lot more skittish of it. What's up, Miguel? Hello to everyone. John Doe, I've been planting tons of berry bushes, disease-resistant fruit trees. They're reliable long-term for you. Just mulch everything. Well, dude, if you want to, John, message me on Discord. I could use some advice on that kind of stuff. I'm holding all my sealed Evolving Skies because it's set the bar so high. As I said, I want to watch it age along newer sets. Not a bad thing at all. What if Pokemon Go adds features with the Pokemon Go cards coming out like 2 barcodes? I don't think that's going to really matter that much, honestly. I mean, Pokemon Go is still irrelevant. Like, it's still a relevant game and people enjoy it, but it's not like where it used to be when the hype was so real. At least the Radiant cards for the Go set look cool. Yeah, that's fair. Hello everyone, do you think picking up the Japanese Dream Legends boost box for 160 is the deal? The set is very nice. I wonder if there is good upside to it. I definitely think there is good upside to it. UT Long, do I think that 160 for the Japanese Dream League? I mean, let's take a look and see what just the market prices are on for it right now. Actually, I wonder, does Pokedata have it? Japanese sets? Actually, I should just look up. Hopefully they have Dream League. Do they not have Dream League? Dang, that's tough. I don't see why it wouldn't be. But here's my problem with the UT Long. 160 seems like a lot. Let's go to eBay and take a look first. I mean, how's it been trending? I mean, to be fair, UT Long, let's look at recently sold. On a set like this. It is a Japanese set. The value on it. Here's what I'm going to say to answer your question, UT Long. I do think 160 is a great price compared to what we're just seeing for market value. But I'm still fearful of more downside to come on this set. But however, to be fair, with current market prices, you buy it right now 160, you could sell it for probably around 120. Or sorry, 200. So I would say it's definitely a great pickup, and you could still flip it if you wanted to. But I'm definitely on the selling side as it stands right now than the buyer side. Amazing Rare Celebi is dirt cheap right now. I grabbed a PSA 10 for 29 ship. Do you think that's a decent buy at a near low? I definitely do, especially John, because Vivid Voltage was a set that came out before PSA closed down. It's had multiple reprints, very high population, and honestly, for something like a Celebi, which is a very collectible card, it's a really cool card. Even though it is an ultra modern card that's on a high pop, I do think that you're talking about getting in at a really nice price of 29 bucks. Evolving Skies hit $90 booster box. So how long do you think Brilliant Star booster boxes could get being printed? Go being printed during recession. I definitely see. I mean, God, dude. I mean, it depends how bad of a recession we have, and it depends how much of a reprint we have. The expectation is going to be a large one per my sales rep. Of course, only time will tell when we do see the numbers on that. No. With that being said, I don't think it hitting $90 within the next couple of months is out of the picture, especially if we're going to see a reprint within the next couple of weeks. But also, with that being said, if it is a small reprint, then it will really then come down to, I mean, it's hard, man. It's hard because I don't have a crystal ball with that specific question. But all I'm going to say is, as it stands right now, I think it's possible it could hit sub 100 if we do see a large reprint within the next couple weeks. If it isn't a large reprint, then I'll probably see it maybe, if we're lucky, get to $100, give or take. And then the next opportunity is if there is a large reprint or the small reprint followed by the recession being extremely bad. That's kind of my scenarios. I subscribed. You're awesome. I love your information. I appreciate that, my guy. School, including college, is really more about if you complete a goal or goals. Life and work experience are real teachers. 1000% agree, Brad. Pika, what did I miss? Man, I don't know. How long were you gone for? That's the real question, Pika, because I kind of want to rant there. What are those boxes I can pick up? Any names, please? Wait, what are those boxes I can pick up? Any names, please? What specifically do you mean by that when you say what are those boxes? Are you talking about the Dream League? The Japanese variation of one of the Cosmic Eclipse ones? I gotta say the chat here is the most informative of all the live stream. Yo, we definitely got some nice brains in the chat, that's for sure. Community is like a small group of people living in the same area and sharing resources like modern day village, basically. Oh, a commune. I don't know why it took me a second to read that. I thought you missed. I'm dumb, Lord Narwhal. I, for some reason, thought you meant to, like, I thought that was a typo. I know what a commune is. I'm so dumb. Yes, I see what you're saying. Start, like, our own little community of Pokemon. That'd be sick, dude. How is Idaho in regards to Pokemon? I don't know what part you live in. Thanks for the answer. I'll just invest in sealed with any bit of money I have left over. Obviously, keep money essentials. I know you surely answered this, but any product now you invest in, not as it currently stands. I'm staying away from investing right now until I see a major reprint on any of the high demand sets. I was inspired by energy and economy talk. Hey, I appreciate that, Lord Narwhal. It will be interesting. We just had a Pokemon boom right before the recession because they didn't happen right before the last recession. Yeah, I'm excited to see what the information we're gonna be having. I'm sitting on almost 100 of Drizzle's. Gonna get rid of them. Gonna get rid of these soon. Yeah, I mean, honestly, comment. I think the next month or two, we're gonna hopefully see Drizzle's go up in value. Is ADP still decent and expanded? I have a few copies, but I only started playing competitive in the last 6 months. I mean, it's still decent and expanded for sure. I see it pop up every so often, but it's very rare that I'd see it pop up, personally speaking. That's what I would say with that comment. But I mean, the collectability value of it is extremely high, so that's why it's still worth stuff. Yes, 100% agree with you on that one, Pika. It's been fun, but peace out, broski. Well, thank you as always for stopping by, Travis, my man. My dude, I'm on Twitch instead of YouTube. Piz, what's up, Piz? I responded to your question, by the way. I'm so sorry for getting back to you so late. Did you end up getting back to me? No, you haven't. But yes, Piz, I responded to your question, so feel free to message me back whenever you can. William, thoughts on the recession being quick? See lots of commentary for both. I think it'll be slow and painful if the way in which the Fed is going right now, slowly trying to like boost interest rates versus doing it in one big swoop. I think it'll be slow and painful. I think you could see stagflation for several years plus. Like, I'm talking like I mean, you're hoping only 1 to 2, but some economists are saying 5 to 10 if they just are as inefficient as they are. But we'll see. I mean, we've got midterms coming up, and I personally believe that if you're gonna go the way in which the economy is going right now, they're gonna have to start taking a more of a Bill Clinton approach in regards to addressing the economy, trying to tackle issues going on right now. And it's gonna have to be a quick turnaround, that's for sure. It isn't surprising, but yeah, the Pokemon, yeah, it's Pokemon Go set's so sad, dude. It is so sad. Miguel, I'm investing in Pokemon cards, but what is the best booster boxes in English or Japanese? What is your opinion? I'm be honest with you, Miguel, I'm not a huge fan of investing in Japanese booster boxes. Although EV Heroes is my favorite, a lot of these items are extremely overinflated because people have a disconnect on what the value of Japanese product really is. So I can't really give you a well-informed opinion on the Japanese stuff because of that. Or I shouldn't say well-informed, just because I think it's overinflated. Because the price in which we're buying booster boxes here compared to their buying booster boxes, they're buying them for half as much as we are. And you're seeing their booster boxes sell for as much as ours, which is dumb. Which is extremely dumb. That's overinflated. But in English right now, I mean, reprints, waiting for those reprints on Brilliant Star and Evolving Skies. That's kind of my MO right now. For sure, I'll get on Discord and give you some references to help grow produce in Arizona. I really appreciate that. Seriously, thank you so much, John. I'm excited for the move. I'm gonna look at getting a backyard and a garden for sure. Thank you. Yeah, I was either keeping sealed or open it myself. Rudy just dropped a video saying that we're all doomed GGs by the looks of the title. I watched the first couple intro of the video, but I never finished it. I definitely have to take a look at it. No worries, I actually don't live in Idaho, but I've got the masculine urge to move there and homestead. That's so funny, Norwell. And you stay in the area though, the whole part of the country is prettiest. Dude, Boise is gorgeous. Gorgeous. I remember when we visited there, so pretty, dude. Can you do a summary of this next 6 months of PTCG's activity? Like July equals Pogo, August equals Evolving Skies. Oh, I could totally do something like that, Pika Pika. Yeah, for sure. Do you prefer how Japanese sets are released compared to English sets, generally smaller loaded sets like VMAX Climax? Ooh, that's a great question. And the answer is yes, honestly. I do. I do think Japan does it right, man. I like that they're smaller sets, smaller print. I like the way in which, I mean, now granted the market currently for Japanese product is overinflated. However, I do still like the way in which their approach is to things. They're very aware of they're just very aware of card quality, imprinting. They're very aware of individuals liking to have high pull rates on cards, but also not wanting to spend a bunch of money on booster boxes. And they're also very aware as well of people not wanting to open hundreds of booster boxes to pull everything. So yes, I do like their approach. Yeah, no problem, Miguel. What happened with Pogo set? The people are saying it's bad now. Been out of the loop. The final Anonymous, the final set list was revealed for it. And the secret rares are 2 alternate arts. One's a Conkeldurr alternate art. One's a Mewtwo alternate art. And then the rest are Rainbow V-Star Dragonite, Rainbow V-Star Mewtwo. Obviously, the Rainbow rares of the Leaders and the Professor. And then here's your golds. And then Melmetal VMAX Rainbow. So, to answer your question, this set looks terrible. This set looks absolutely atrocious. Very disappointing to say the least. But one thing I will say, so last 5 minutes, we're about to start wrapping things up as always. Please make sure to leave a like and comment down below. Appreciate the support and be subscribed, of course. With Vivid Voltage going out of rotation, do you think it's okay to pick up booster box or ETBs? UT Long, I'm a huge fan of the ETBs right now. huge fan of the ETBs. I think the value on the ETBs are great right now for what you're buying them for. Dude, I absolutely am excited for the price on the ETBs. Booster boxes are definitely not as bad of a pickup. They're definitely not bad by any means, so don't be discouraged by the fact that I won't shut up about the ETBs. But the only reason why is because if we go right now, no advanced search, go to vivid voltage, the value that you're getting the booster boxes for, and we're just looking at TCG player, so you know, bear with me on that, versus the vivid voltage elite trainer boxes. Ooh, wait, has it gone up? Huh, I thought they dropped more. They did not. I could have sworn you can buy vivid voltage ETBs for $30 somewhere. Huh. What's eBay going for? Really? I was under the impression they were a little bit cheaper. I don't know, man. That's interesting. So here's what I'm gonna say. Here's my opinion on this. UT Long. I still like the ETBs more, but here's my price points. If you can get the booster box for $115 and you can get the ETB for $35 or cheaper, those are my price points I like. Personally, if I can get the ETBs for around 30 to 33, 34, then I'm even more happy. Vivid Voltage, good luck finding it below 115 or 120. But I still think it's a good pickup because it's about to go to rotation. Darkness Blaze main Charizard is selling mint around $40. Would you say that card is a good buy now? It's pretty low. I would say if you're trying to buy that card, now is probably the best time to buy. Do you think the Pogo ETBs will dip below MSRP? I mean, Andrew, I was selling on my site for 43 bucks. MSRP is 50. So yes, 1000%. And you can go buy them right now on Game Nerds for 45. So they're already below MSRP. There's a case of VV ETB for 315. I seen a booster box go for 110. Good price pickup. Those are great prices. Those are amazing prices. Where are you finding those prices, UT Long? Actually, you want to point out where you're finding those prices for? I would love to see that. Do you know if Radiant EV box will be available through stores or just the Pokemon Center? They'll be available through stores. I was selling them on my website. So I gotta imagine they'd be available in big box retailers as well as other online retailers, but I could be wrong. So yeah, UT Long, shoot me a link on that, my guy, on the Discord. But as far as it goes, so that was my 5-minute cutoff mark. Looks like we don't have any more questions. I am starving. I need to eat some food. But as always, thank you guys all so much for stopping by. Make sure to leave a like, comment down below. Be subscribed to the YouTube channel if you want to enter into our weekly giveaways. I can't thank you guys all so much once again for the love and support. But that is all